Welcome back, everybody. And today we are going to go through a video on how we can use the open banking account information and transaction APIs simulated through the Ozone Open Bank. Um, there's again a similar series of steps that you carry out to be able to access accounts information endpoint, like say the transactions endpoint. The steps for the other endpoints like balances, standing orders, direct debits is pretty much similar. So you start off by getting a client credentials grant, use that to post to the account requests endpoint. This is the endpoint where you stage the consent with the permissions that you require for the calls that you're about to make. You then take that account request through a consent authorization stage, and that's in the traditional 2 bits. You get an authorization code, and then you exchange that authorization code for an access token. And then once you've got that access token, you're good to go and make calls to the various endpoints that you just got consent authorization for. So let's jump in again into our Postman client. It's been set up with these collections, which you can download from Ozone. And it's also been set up with an environment that you download from Ozone. We start by getting a client credentials grant. This time, because we're going to use the accounts APIs, we've got a scope set to accounts and click, and what we get back is an access token. We use that access token to then make a submission to the account requests endpoint. The body there is set up for a set of permissions. We want all the transactions, credits and debits. We want all the transaction details. And then we want the ability to do things like read the account details, including the account number, sort code, or BIC and IBAN if the bank uses BIC and IBAN instead. So we'll send that across, and we get a response back from Ozone. That's been created now. We've got an account request ID, but it's awaiting authorization. So before we can call any of the remaining account and transaction APIs, we need to ensure that that account request has been authorized. Now, again, we've got the Ozone UI, which provides a set of training wheels, for want of a better term. And once you've picked the account request ID that we've just set up, it builds out the request parameter and the request parameter jot and the auth code URL that you need to visit. So let's click on that URL, log in again. And what this will bring up is a set of accounts that you can provide access to. So let's say we provide access to just these 2 accounts and confirm that. And then the final step of authorization, we need to confirm that we are happy to provide all these permissions for that period of time. And once you go yes, we have authorization code that's generated. If we copy that across, take that back to our Postman collection, we can now generate an authorization token off the back of that. Paste that in and go. Right, so we've got an access token now. This one has a scope of OpenID and accounts. And if we check that ID token, you'll find that it's bound to the account request ID that we'd staged in earlier. And we can then go off to transactions and make a call. And what we should get back is the entire set of transactions for those 2 accounts that we'd given permissions for. Now what you'll see here is you don't have a reference to the actual account number, but you have an account ID that's been returned. And we could call the accounts endpoint to figure out what that account ID represents. So you'll see that The account ID is 5 followed by a number of zeros and 3, and 5 map onto the two accounts that we provided access to during consent authorization. Since we'd also given the balances permission when we set this up, we could also go to the balances endpoint and view the balance on those two accounts. You can see that one of them is overdrawn, whereas the other one is in credit. I hope that was useful for you, and hope to see you all back again for more videos later. Thank you.